Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about Solidity programming language and Remix IDE. So I'm going to give you a quick intro to both of them. So go to your Chrome browser, type Ethereum Remix IDE, go to the first link. Now you can see we have our Solidity IDE on Chrome browser, which is built in JavaScript. So it is nothing but a tool to write your smart contract and test them on the Chrome browser before you deploy them in real world. First, let me clear this. Now, for having more information about this, you can visit Medium posts, tutorials, and documentation of this. So, let me give you a quick introduction to this IDE and Solidity programming language. So, by default, we are on File Explorer. We have two files, ballot.sol and ballot.test. So first let me examine this. This is our by default smart contract called ballot.sol is an extension for Solidity programming language. On the first line we define the type of compiler we want to use. So if you are writing in the older version of Solidity, you define the older version, and for the newer you define the newer version. So at the moment it is using 0.4 to 0.6 compiler version. Next, we define our smart contract by the keyword contract, and we then give our contract a name. Then any other programming language, we have struct and enum our Solidity programming language. Then we define variables. It is they are data types. Uint, bool, and Solidity also have some new data types like address, which is used to address store memory locations. So going down below we see a constructor. Just like any other programming language, we also have a constructor here which can be used to initialize your variables and objects. Then we create functions by giving its name followed by a keyword function, and we can also define some modifiers like public, private, etc. So Solidity is similar to the JavaScript programming language. It follows the syntax of JavaScript, and just like any other programming language, we can create our constructor, functions, variables in our smart contracts. So if you know a programming language familiar with JavaScript, it will be easy for you to write a smart contract in it. Then we have test. You can write your test cases in it to test your Solidity contract. And let's move ahead and see ID further. Next, we have a compiler. First, we define our compiler version, then we define the kind of language we want to use, that is Solidity. Then we define a VM version, which is virtual machine. So Ethereum got an Ethereum virtual machine. When we compile our code, it gets transferred to a bytecode, and that bytecode is understandable by that Ethereum virtual machine, which is going to run your smart contract. So let's click on compile. It get compiled successfully. You can see there is no error. You get two things, ABI and bytecode. ABI is application binary interface. Let's me copy it and paste it here, which is similar to your smart contract. The use of ABI is that whenever you want to use your smart contract outside your blockchain, you can just use that ABI and refer to your smart contracts. Next, we have bytecode. As I told you, which is understandable by your EVM. So when you compile your smart contract, you get two things, ABI and bytecode. Now let's move to the next part. This after compiling, you run your smart contract and deploy it. So first of all, choose environment. So I am choosing JavaScript because I'm using it in browser. Then by default, Ethereum ID give you some accounts and their addresses with some default testing ethers, like we have 100 ethers. These ethers are testing, and in real world we have one ether equivalent to 10,000 Indian rupees at current moment. Next, we have gas limit. So whenever you run your smart contract, it costs you some gas, which is kind of fuel to run it, which you in real world you purchase gas. So, and after that we have value. If you want to transfer some amount of currency, you can just define here, and you can define the kind of currency you want to transfer, for example ether and v. Then you define your contract name, and we have deploy here. So whatever value you give here, like I gave it 1, it's going to be here in num proposal, and it's going to initialize your contract by the help of this constructor. One other option is add address. Just like this smart contract have some address, and it's going to be deployed address. If you have another contract, so that another contract going to have its own address, so you can deploy your contract to the another contract address by specifying address here. So right now I'm leaving that part. Click on deploy. You can see your contract has been successfully deployed, and you can see a response here, like your transaction hash, which is cryptographically hash, and then you can see the contract address which we use is a smart contract get its own address. Then the account we used here ca, and we then this much gas has been spent while deploying this contract. And you can see here the default value we pass in our constructor, which is 1, which is going to be stored in this num proposal. So this is how you deploy your smart contract. And this was a quick introduction to the Solidity programming language. If we go in much detail, we can just check it out here, our deploy contract. So it's going to show you every function that is contained inside this contract. For example, first function is delegate. So you can search here. The delegate function is there. You can just test it from here. Then give right to bot is a function. You can test it from here. So before moving to the real world, Remix IDE is a really great and powerful tool which can be used to create smart contract and test them on the browser. Once you are satisfied, you can take all your coding to the real world and make your Ethereum apps. So guys, this was a quick introduction to the Ethereum IDE and Solidity programming language. In next video, we are going to write a hello world smart contract, and also going to just in detail of some of its feature. So thanks. Please subscribe my YouTube channel. I am a beginner, and you can have more videos on blockchain, machine learning, and programming language on my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching it.